Hello everyone, so today we are going to be looking at several things. It's going to be called probably the mixed bag and woo woo chats. I've got so much to cover on these. I wanted for the past week or so to do them. I've been told by Spirit to look at the bottom of the deck. A lot of us at the moment are in this sort of kind of like trying to be patient and continue working on things while waiting for something to be revealed to us, like just watching something, trying to be patient with something. And I think that does go with what we've got. So I've taken notes on what I want to cover. And for this one anyway, let's just pull some energy cards for energy. Okay, our energy and energy going into 2025. I've not done the 2025 prediction. I've done them as in I've taken notes of what I've had downloads and channeled, but I've not recorded it for YouTube and subscribers yet. So I'll hopefully get that done if that's of interest. I do want to do another reading on Luigi because I don't like the energy of the way some things are being handled. And again, I don't condone what was done. It's very difficult to say this. But we don't get heard in certain ways, regardless of what we do. But I do want to do a reading on that. Do check out my first part and the second part where I'm channeling him. I believe it was the same day he got arrested. So I presume there's been a lot of progress since then. So I want to do a read on that because I've not had the details. I've not looked into the details, but I think it was 2 days ago I saw that he was being extradited from Pennsylvania to NYC, and I didn't watch the whole thing, but all I saw was him walking, and it was like he was the president, or he attempted assassin on a president, or he did do it to a president. It was just crazy the way it was done, but the energies for me was so unsettling. And when I think of the first channeling for him that I did, I was getting a lot of that kind of stuff coming up. And so I do want to do a second reading. It won't be a copy. If you're welcome to the channel if you're new. I don't do rereadings. It doesn't mean that I believe I get it right the first time. I know that a lot of tarot readers will redo, and without saying I'm correcting my first reading, they'll just keep redoing. This will cover different elements where I feel there's a bit of a concern, okay, or anything that I need to clarify. So let's just pull up some energies now and for the next sort of going into January, okay. We've got 2 cards out, but at the bottom of the deck I cannot not see a card that's flipped, which is the 10 of Swords. And we have these cards. I've mentioned a president that needs to be important during now until the end of April, okay. And I think that definitely is something that needs to be, okay, they do need to be careful, and I believe they will. So I'm going to shuffle again because I just want one card for it, okay, and it's mainly for the people. Remember, this is what the universe feels we need to know. So we're sometimes like, well, we know that, or there'll be a bigger reason. So our first overall card is Three of Cups. I've mentioned before, we're going to be seeing that we can't rely on our gov, our frameworks, our MP, our president, whoever we used to see our savior. It's our community, and the universe will be testing us in more ways on the way we will lean on each other. So please, if you're able to help your neighbor, if you're able to help someone who approaches you, then do so. If you're able to extend a gesture of kindness, maybe God has granted you something extra so that you can help, not only so that you receive and take. Energy over the next month into January. Okay. We got these come out again, but the Queen of Cups was behind it. So these are very significant cards, okay? I was actually asking, I wanted to get our hopes, okay? But these cards came out, so I do want to clarify them, okay? It's going to be very hidden, okay? But it's someone who's very smug, and I definitely feel like, you know, someone needs to be very careful. Look, there's some smugness here happening. Let's put this back and let's pull on the cards that I wanted. What we got in for the fears is love, right? Is actually leaning on each other, okay? And I think that's because we're going to see the disparity of people consciousness, and where sometimes you're going to be a 3D on something, you might be on a 5D on another thing, and the person you've seen as 3D might be at 5D on that thing, okay? So here, the fears is opening our hearts to everything around us. It seems like, let's just get the hopes. Hopes is that things that are hidden, that are making us have our boundaries up, which is this, because, you know, it's putting a shield around your heart, crumbles down. What is being hidden and all the chaos right now, that it crumbles down, and obviously crumbling down, that something doesn't last, it crumbles down, whether you're in the UK, the US, wherever you are, that something there crumbles down from its existence. The past. The past was the Four of Wands, where the focus was all around home, stability, our routine, ourselves alone. But I think what we're learning here is that to have the power, we have to pull together. All right, so that's the past energy, which is a good energy. Some of us are going to be quite impulsive to react, okay? A lot of communication, a lot of movement. I think some people are going to be quoting legislation and laws whenever we're approached by something that makes us fear our opening our heart. And a lot of legalities here is kind of the energy in terms of the reaction that we're going around stuff. Following a lot of people that have a voice in the legal, in the gov. What are they communicating? A lot of people are watching the news, are watching what's happening. We want to know the truth. And I think it comes back to this. So that's the reaction that's going to be. But a lot of people seem to be like, that sounds like BS. I'm holding my soul to truth on what I believe. And a lot of people will be believing different things. Let's pull our advice before I tap into the cards we've got. Our advice is looking after ourselves. Look at this. Don't get caught up in the fear, the anxiety, getting paranoid, where you lose the sense of yourself, you lose your grounding. You even probably be like, what I used to do to enjoy, to look after myself, I don't even enjoy it anymore. Like, I'm caught up in a lot of anxiety, some depression. I do think we're going to see mental health crisis. I've mentioned that before. I do think we're going to see it this year. I think it's going to be a mixed bag. Some people are going to feel like this year is moving into a lighter energy. The energy is shifting than the last 5, minimum 3 years. And some people might be feeling a mental health crisis, and that will be challenging. So I don't know why I put that back and didn't lay it down, but it was the 9 of Pentacles and the 9 of Swords that seemed to have flipped. So let me just get the 9 of Pentacles out and the 9 of Swords, so then I can look into the cards even more. Remember, please, if you enjoy this, to like and subscribe, and I hope everyone is having a happy holidays. What I do want to say is a lot of us might be alone, and some of us might not be alone but feel alone. Remember, I don't know if you believe in God or you believe in a higher power. We're never alone, okay? You're never alone, and I'm going to try and put content up on here. You can also join the lives on the Patreon and the members. So here I feel like with the Tower, the King of Swords that we saw, the communication and the in our fears is the love, opening our heart. There is going to be a slight Tower aspect around gov or frameworks, legal around gov, okay? And I believe while that is happening in the background, they're going to be keeping us busy with several things that is really going to affect some people, distract them, and some people are going to be okay. Some people begin like, okay, here we go again, slight distraction, I'm focusing on me, my household, what I need to do, the happy holidays, right? Celebration. Now, that's when also, remember in my drones reading, I said how you're reacting is being assessed and gathered, okay? And often these things actually measure how much they can advise or put out when they're doing stuff, okay? If they're creating something new, or whether it's to do with UFOs or aliens or whatever it's to do. The drones are not aliens and UFOs. I don't know how. If your psychic says it, fine, but you know, I've done that reading, clear as day. So there's going to be some truths that come through, and there's going to be some war of truths. Again, that was coming up in the drone reading. What are you going to do with the power and the war of information that's thrown at you? But it's kind of like all this comes in, so you don't see the crumbling as something in the background. And it's interesting how I've placed the cards and I've kind of hit the Tower, the crumbling in the background. Could the distraction be, you know, in the December 2024 prediction, I mentioned about bird flu, and I think, you know, that will go into January. Could some of the distractions be around bird flu currently? I just feel like they're going to throw certain things out there. Some people are going to be captured by it. Some people are going to be like, Not sure if this makes sense, or are we getting a distraction from Luigi right now, where it will be very highly publicized and then they'll want to quieten it down. And they're saying they want to quieten it down right now. Are they doing that? Look at what happened to extradite him. And I didn't even watch anything apart from I'd seen that. I was like, what the hell is going on? Seriously, I think there was 2 boats, military boats or army boats, marine basically, in the water. There was helicopters. Come on now. Right? And you're just serving the publicity that the person needs to have that change. You know what? I don't want to say what he wanted, because it's a difficult situation where you can see why someone's acted, but you don't condone what they've done. It's not something you should do. And if someone's trying to get a message out there, you don't go all in that way if you're a gov to help that. I mean, that just attracts attention, doesn't it? I hope I'm saying this in a very sensitive way without showing that necessarily. Now, one card is just fallen, which is very interesting, and I feel like Spirit has done it on purpose. It's the eight of wands as I say that, and I feel like Spirit is like telling me, yes, they will canvas when they want to communicate certain things on him and some things not. So is it Luigi? Is it drones? What is it going to be? It's going to quieten down. I mean, is it TikTok that's going to come back? Is it Diddy? What is it going to be? Like I said, I think there's going to be some aspects of panic with some people here with the 9 of Swords. And I think there is going to be told to look at the bottom of the deck. 2 of Wands. There is going to be aspects of some people that are... I think Spirit really wants me to talk about Luigi. You know, this reminds me of the extradite from Pennsylvania to New York. Well, some people will be at panic, and some people will be, okay, I need to wait for the communication to be elaborated even further. What date is it, by the way? Because I'm getting told to look at that. It's interesting time, 22/21. What date am I? 21st of December, 22/21, 21st December. Very interesting. But it's not to notice shenanigans going on, okay? And you're going to see some people still panic. Some of us are okay. I think there could also be an element of religious exposure. We're going to see more child kind of stuff, rituals, Satan type, exposures around that coming up as well. I want to pull an advice card for us. Advice for this energy. Focus on yourself. Focus on what you're working on to master. I'm getting told by Spirit a lot of us could, that's why I did that, have back pain, energy stuck in our back. And so notice some of you when you get that, right? As an energy healer, I know what it can be related to in different areas of your back. I want you to notice, does it flare up at certain times, or is there tension that comes at certain times? But it seems like that's going to be an energy where it could get blocked. The advice here is to patiently focus on oneself and not to necessarily focus on what you've lost in the last year and what's not gone your way. 8 of Cups, right? 8 of Cups and 8. It was an 8th year. This year, 2024, is an 8th year. So what have you lost? You need to turn the page and look forward to 2025, which is a 9 year. Don't focus on anything of the past. Focus on going forward, and you are elevating in that. I feel like some people are going to see the Tower and some things that come through as positive, and some people are going to feel like it's a crisis. Okay, I think digest things very slowly. Look, he's not working very fast, right? He's taking his time, he's absorbing it, and he's tapping into his mind's there, but I don't feel like he's concentrated in his mind. It's more or less being within oneself, being present within it. So tap into your intuition, you got what sits well, and don't get sucked into what other people do, what the popular opinion is, right? If you have a different opinion, that's totally fine. Don't get sucked into that. They might say they know the truth and they don't know the truth. Something about the drones that I find funny on my thumbnails, it's like the mayor of New Jersey comes up and it's kind of like, I don't know what it was in the thumbnail. I clicked on it and for like 30 seconds it was like he was saying stuff and I was like, this is his opinion. You know, it's beyond wanting opinion, and people will take that statement and say this is what it is, but it's opinion. It's like your opinion, it's your view. Okay, so it doesn't mean it's the truth. We need to be careful of that kind of stuff. So they might not know the truth, but say they do, but they have a feeling and they can't put their finger on something, so they're trying to get information and have an answer to something that just doesn't feel settled within them, and they're feeling a bit of a crisis. They want an answer. Again, I've mentioned this in the drones video. What I do want to say is I just want to pull some cards on WEF, World Economic Forum. It's interesting because I'm not a political or framework kind of reader, but it came to me and I looked it up, right? And that's what it stands for. So I just want to pull cards on them and see where we go with that. I also think for 2025, although this is not a 2025 predictions, Trump is going to have an impact on, Duck is going to have an impact on the UK MP, all right, Starmer. So I wonder if that's going to help have some positive change, right? But I do see that happening. I can see that happening, even if we don't hear about it. We'll see what cards we get in that reading. Interesting. We've got the Queen of Cups, we've got the Ace of Cups, and we've got the Lovers. I'm not going to be able to show that for too long. So here, you know, at this moment in time, it feels like they are trying to tread carefully, feel where people are at. That's just interesting, this is. Because I feel like there might be some kind of crumbling around them. They have a choice. It seems like they have a choice to present wellness, good to the people, bringing together government, businesses, civil society to prove the state of the world. So these cards would be what they're set up to do, right? And that's what Spirit's brought me. So let's see, how do they sit with that? It seems like it's interesting. Spirit's just made me see the snake behind that. Behind Eve, there's that green snake. So behind what they stand for, which is all this, there is a bit of a snake. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, I think there is going to be some kind of crumbling of them. Crumbling of their success. We have the Six of Swords, the Ten of Swords, and the Seven of Swords, the King of Swords, and we've got the Nine of Cups that I believe was in reverse. So I did want to say I wonder if they will end up falling apart, but I don't know if that could happen, right? There is some kind of, so on a lighter note, there is some kind of crumbling. There's something that's not going to move peacefully, that's going to bring an end in something to do with them or what they do. The King of Swords, very discerning, right? But what they get, what they want to get as a wish doesn't come through. There's an end here. And I wonder who's gonna try to put, maybe a framework comes in place, a legislation, something happens that brings an end, that doesn't move so smoothly. Okay, it's not going to move smoothly because it's going to be an abrupt end. It's going to be a very difficult end, and someone's going to put a stop to something they'd hoped to get. And it looks like there is that snake there, right? Interesting read. Okay, so let's now move on. What else did I want to cover? So I think, I don't know if I think in time the World Economic Forum will come down. So are we going to have a crash, a financial crash? I don't feel we're going to have a big financial crash, okay? So that's a question, but let's pull cards. Some framework, okay, in place that was trying to put an end to the financial system is not going to go through. Big cards here around finances, which is interesting and why I wanted to ask that. But something is going to come up, maybe not now, but it's happening in some time. And when I was thinking of this read, do you know what I was seeing? I was seeing, do you know your screen, and do you know where you see loads of like lights of stocks and matrix measurements? I could see that, and then it like fizzed and buzzed out as if it crashed. So could it be the stock market, or could it be like the travel, the flights, the planes? It was kind of the background working on it, but someone also monitoring it. So could it be a bank? Could it be a financial system? Could it be to do with, I don't want to say aircrafts, because people think like the actual pilot that's flying the aircraft. I don't mean that. I mean more or less like you can't check your travel or book a flight or something for that moment. Like the whole system and even transmuting system goes down, but not necessarily affecting the pilot for that moment. And it could be banks, it could be finances. The old system around finances needs to go. A new system that is more as opposed to giving, as opposed to taking, is on a balanced scheme. And I think this is to do with the new financial frameworks and systems that need to be in place as we move along. So that's interesting. Very strong cards we're getting here, to ends of something. In my Jan predictions, I mentioned that the first 3 days of Jan can be a bit sticky, like 1st, 2nd and 3rd, so look out for that. I also get a very strong energy around the 25th of April. But some dates are going to help us level up. All right, some dates are going to help us up level, level up. But what I also want to say with that is in my predictions, I felt like the first 6 months are going to be the most challenging. Take it till July, maybe a little bit August tricky, but from September onwards, it's a lot. Even finances, I feel a bit better. So I think the first 6 months of 2025 are the most trickiest. Okay. Let's go back to this read. I do feel capitalists, corporate, communists it's gonna downfall. It's gonna be a downfall, not necessarily only, you know, all of it all in 2025, but prophecy, there is that future. So what do we need to do with that? What we need to do with those sort of things is call out the secret societies, and call them out for judgment, so that it does hit them, expose them, and bring them down. Okay, the societies, call them out. The downfall of leaders, the downfall of what has been happening to our children. Okay, like I said, sex, rituals, leaders, the famous coming down, still the energy. I would say, although it's not a 2025 whole predictions, there's certain times next year, and I think this might be from Feb to May, be aware of overcrowded places and where you're sharing your energy. Okay, I'll try to tap into that a bit more. You know, I do the monthly predictions as well, so we'll look into that. Be mindful of overcrowded places. If your intuition basically says, nah, don't go, maybe it's best not to go. But this is not to fear it. Don't isolate yourself. Like if you're invited to a concert, just tap in with yourself. If, like, for example, you're really excited but suddenly something wants to stop you and you feel like, actually I'm not as excited anymore and I want to listen to how I feel, it feels better for me not to go, maybe that would be a discerning decision. Be mindful who you surround yourself with and hang out with. I've got a message, I've got a question on Trudeau here. I was going to do a bit of a read on Canada as well. Okay, very interesting. So the King of Wands in reverse, the Three of Wands, I've got the Tower at the bottom of the deck. Did he have any appointments that he might have cancelled for Christmas, but then there's some that he is actually attending or doing? Like, for example, I have some, I'm not doing any MP appointments or anything, but then you hear he's in another area or something, doing something. There's something about that energy. I don't know enough. I don't know much about Canada. The King of Wands in reverse is not a good energy. I feel like he's holding on very tightly. At the same time, though, at the back, I feel like he is what is this, Spirit? Could he be playing a bit of victimhood? Like I don't even know what he looks like. Can you believe it? I don't know what he looks like. I'm wondering if he can play a bit of the victimhood with that. That's what I'm getting for him. Like, maybe everyone else has done the mistake and not him. Could that be something in his energy? Yeah, I definitely think he's saying he's absent, but I feel like he is actually attending somewhere. It's something there that sounds really weird. I don't know. There's a disruption here. There's disruption, so I don't see this going down lightly at all. I think there is going to be a heavy secret exposed of him. Maybe we already know something. Something really bad that's hidden that could drag him off, but he's like holding on really, really tightly, I feel. Like even holding on to the point of, I don't care about my credibility. But I feel like there's a timeline here. I feel like somehow he's already kind of on his way out. And I get his wife, but if he's married. But I don't know if they're in a coherent relationship. Yeah, he's gonna be forced out, but I think the timeline that we see him out is already been forced out. Very strong on that. Like we know of it, we hear of it. Oh, he's been forced today, or he's not. I don't know when your election is. He's not winning yet. I think he's forced out, but actually, or it's already happened. But we kind of know very late on. Like it's all. I think it's already in the works. Let's look at the universe and what it wants to show us for 2025 again. The highlights, let's see. Maybe it could be outstanding stuff, something like that. Again, the past we've been in deception, we've been in delusion, we've not known where to put our bets, what to look at, what makes sense. It's all been like really, really foggy. Trying to juggle the polarities of the world and the messages we get. Sorry, I need to ask. I know what question I'm getting. You know, I think there's going to be a lot of places in the world as well where their frameworks are falling apart and not working anymore. And it's kind of like they're needing to reassess and another one comes in. And this is several countries in the world, like outdated past frameworks and things falling away, gov, financial, whatever it is. Present, I think in the present is there's still some psyop energy here, and remember, disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes only. Please use your own fact finding. But realizing you need to ground yourself and not get caught up in it, realizing the grounding of emotions and mental energy is really, really important, and allow things to plan out, you know. It might mean that you don't turn your back on something, you don't block it out, but you give it patience and you allow it to pan out. Because it seems like some people are like, I refuse to believe in something in a certain way and I'm walking away from it. And some people will have boundaries up, especially when it comes to authority gov frameworks. But here it's kind of like some people are like, I'm going to have patience. I'm going to try and utilize my yin and my yang in balance, stay in balance mentally, emotionally, and ground myself when I feel like I'm getting out of balance. Because here, there's hidden influences. There's a lot that's going to be going on. When we see this, all right, a lot is going on here that we can't see. There's hidden consequences here as well. And consequences can be happening from things that have gone on, hidden influences. But remember, I said a lot of what happens, a lot of what is thrown at us is how we react and what we do with that. It depends heavily on how people react. When I see these cards, I want to say pay attention. There's the past and the present. Pay attention to the emotional roller coaster we could be on, and mentally, because our mental health is so important this year, this coming year. There might be, you know, kind of beliefs that we've had or that we've not had, that we might decide to change our beliefs, okay? But don't radically move away from something just because, for example, you've always believed this psychic, you've always believed this factual podcast. They say something, you're like, okay, toss it out, 20 years of my belief, my moral ethics, because I believe this person. Sit with it. Does it sit with me? I don't have to unsubscribe from that person, but I'm not sure this sits with me. I'm open to it, and I'm going to be patient to see how it is. How is your philosophy going to be? Do you believe in it? If you don't believe in something after 10, 20, 40 years, that's fine. But also don't be radical in those movements. A lot of what's real, what's been foggy, is going to be shown to us with this Seven of Cups, okay? Spirit is also saying there's a lot of people that, I don't know why I'm getting alcohol, okay? A lot of people that are struggling with alcohol now. Normally it's drugs, but Spirit's bringing through something about alcohol here, so we need to watch that out. And now I'm getting pharma. I think I'm channeling something to do with alcohol and pharma, and them covering something. I'm channeling some more information here. I'm going to have to come back to that. This is strong. So, okay, let me see if I can come back to this. Let me continue with what I've got. Although it's just very strong in this card, what I can see. What you need to know, we'll come back to this, sorry. Things will really reveal themselves, and some of them are the tip of the iceberg. Okay, we're at 44:33. And don't just suddenly throw your philosophy, your beliefs out, but do be open that if I don't do it radically, it's fine for me to change those beliefs. I think there's going to be more exposure around the religious and spiritual kind of mechanisms as well. I think there's going to be a lot of psychics that talk about hybrid people, and they will be pointing out, even if they know or don't know, hybrid people. And I can guarantee you Elon Musk is a name that should come up, and is a name that's going to come up. What's going to be interesting is that some people might decide that some trans people are hybrid. You need to just see who you trust on that kind of thing, okay? I might do a reading on hybrid again to do with the woo-woo chats we look into. But I guess the dating scene is going to be very interesting if that's the case with trans and hybrid. Physically, things in your country will change. So either the borders, you know, legislation, boundaries, people looking after themselves, people not buying into people saying, one of the things I was getting for 2025, something big around meat and cattle, and we're not going to be buying into too much crap around what they say around that. I also feel a lot of people are going to be like, I used to love eating this, even if it's deemed as healthy. You buy it now and you smell it and you're like, I can't stand the smell. There's something about it. My gut doesn't want it anymore, and I used to love it. Like, we're going to be looking after ourselves a lot more, because we're seeing that as a lot of hidden stuff in things that is not good for our health. Okay, but two very strong cards at the bottom of the deck that I wasn't pulling cards for, but I decided to pull cards. Okay, but there is something around that, and what they've been putting in our food that could actually increase the likelihood over time of obviously life expectancy not increasing as much as it could, and slowly not adding to our health. Noticing and I get the devil, noticing this energy, exposing that energy, having the judgment to expose it so we can call them out so they're downfall. But last cards. By the way, the US needs to solve this whole gun situation. It's, you know, every time there's, especially for the schools or the small kids that are doing it, the youngsters, we need to do it. We need to solve this. And it never gets looked into, done, and then there's another school shooting. Something now needs to be done. Last cards. Don't get caught up in the communication that comes, to get paranoid, to be affected by your mental health, depression, anxiety, because it's actually exposing stuff for us, for the better, for a brighter future, for a brighter year, and putting down the burdens, not holding on to old ways. Okay, digest slowly what's coming through. That with the Sun card is really important. Look out also for the wars of information and the wars in the countries. If you knew like who's behind these wars, trust me, you'll be like, I'm not with this or I'm not with that. Okay, and the more I look at stuff, it's like they say America, it's important, like when I do my global psychic predictions, even if I split it, watch them all, because what America does will influence different countries, but also it will, in some countries, some readings, I might get a download for a different country. I'm not just going to go back and re-record something, for example, but there's a difference between what America says it's wanting and American public, the people. They don't want to be, you know, sending money or stuff for international wars. Sort us out. Sort our what about our children? What about our borders? What about our finances? You know, can you sort us out in the country first? I feel like that's what's happening. There's still some of us that will have blinders on us and will still be holding on to our old belief systems and feel like you have to be at war with each other, which is not the right way around it. Look, the Empress takes the higher road. And some will be just watching, waiting to see how it all pans out. There's a choice there, especially around finances, watching how it all pans out around finances. Now, again, staying grounded in your emotions, feeling into your emotions, knowing what to do when you're feeling like you need to go to war, to battle, to defend yourself, to get your opinion out there. I feel like there's going to be more rights in place for people, especially people that have been fighting for the rights for a long time. We might not even have heard of them, like of their demographic. I feel that that is coming through. So like I said, I think some of us will feel that 2025 is easier and some might not. There is something I did. Yeah, conflict of, you know, your home life might come up. Conflict of family members might also come up because of repressed emotions, anger, and things that's going on in the world that's causing the emotions to come up. And I feel that that could be like from the beginning of Jan into Feb. I'm going to do a summary of 2025 and then the predictions as well. I think Canada, could there be a power struggle with ally USA in Canada itself? Because the power structure of the powerful people need to come to an end. I do think we're going to see more about the UFOs and that kind of stuff, okay? I'm going to leave this here. I've got plenty to cover in terms of woo-woos. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Give it a like, subscribe if you enjoyed it, and stay blessed and look out for the other readings. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you don't, I hope you have a lovely festive season, and Happy New Year to everyone. I hope we stay blessed, and I hope 2025 brings us what prosperity we've wanted, wished for, and health. Remember your health. You know, I don't know if any of you agree with me, but one way God can really humble people is through their health. I'm not saying if you get sick, God is humbling you because you're an arse. No, but I think some of you are going to understand. I will be putting up more videos, so I'll probably say this again. Like, Happy New Year. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.